Welcome to another Unreal Foos video. This is a response to a comment by Vidmantas Scarabellis, who was asking if it would be, where he was saying that he was actually, he started practicing or started doing open-handed push shots, and that he was able to get them very fast, and he's able to square them really well. And he was actually asking if I thought that those were good shots to practice, or if they were maybe silly and should get away from those. So I wanted to just offer my opinion on that. For me, while when you do an open-handed push, you can get it to be pretty fast, and you can certainly get a lot of power behind it. For me, I don't use that because I don't feel that I'm as accurate with an open-handed push shot as I am with a close-handed push shot, and so when I do a close-handed, another thing is when I do a close-handed push shot, when I push and I hit, that's basically how far the guy is going up. So if I'm going like this, it's a quick shot right here. I mean, it's the movement between, like the man and the ball actually hardly lose contact. So it's like that. However, if I'm doing an open-handed one, basically the ball would have the man would have to go up that high. I mean, you do that very quickly, but it still has to go up that high before it comes down and hits it. So when you're talking about playing a really good player that's giving you a certain hole and maybe trying to race you, that split second might be the difference between you getting the shot through or getting stuffed. So for me, that's one reason why I typically don't like to do. The only times I do, open-handed pushes is actually when I do a push bank shot, which is actually one of I try to do something like that. Like I can do that type of shot. It's easier for me to do that bank off this while when I do it open-handed like that. But the push shot, but it doesn't mean that it's not a good shot. I think it's still, if you do it open-handed, I have seen people that do open-handed push shots and that are pretty fast, and they're able to clear. But for me, playing singles, I usually know what holes are going to be there, so I have to have exact control of what hole I'm going to be shooting. So if I'm in this position, if I'm here, I can do a slice like that, or I can try to go short or try to spray long. And if I try to do that with an open-handed grip, I don't feel like I have the same control to do that. So and the difference between doing, say, an open-handed and a push-handed, I think they're both powerful. So if I were to just illustrate that, if I do that, this is close-handed. That's close-handed. If I do it open-handed, I mean, it's still fast. Put this guy up. Again, it's also just me not really practicing those shots too much, but see, I mean, just the consistency of it, and I'm not, and that's not even my point. I'm really actually trying to hit it, so. Yeah, on this table also sometimes those shots tend to go up. So that's a clean shot, but I don't feel like I'm as accurate. So still fast, and you get power. I mean, I think they're both equally. I feel like they're both equally fast and maybe strong, but again, the takeoff speed is one of the things that's going to be key. I mean, I played against really good players, and you really literally have a very small hole and a very short window of time where you have to get that shot off. So it's not about just being able to execute the shot. It's knowing when to execute it and how much you have to execute it. And so I feel like, when I do close-handed and I have just that split second, and I know that the guy is going to be right close and I'm going to be able to hit it, as opposed to going all the way over here, because the difference would be not necessarily once you make contact how fast or hard you hit it, is everything before that. It's what was your takeoff speed? And that's another thing that I typically try to teach beginners, or any other type of player that asks me question is, when somebody thinks that they have a good shot, I can go and I can do this, and that looks like a pretty good shot, but the takeoff was very slow. So that's for me. When you do open-handed, your takeoff is typically slower. So you might be able to get away with it against lower competition, but when you talk about playing some of the top players, it may not be as effective. So, but I do recommend learning open-handed and close-handed, and then in certain situations one might be better than the other, but and so it's better that you learn both techniques and adjust your game as you're playing a match. So again, one of the more important things is takeoff, right? So doing this and hitting hard, it's a lot different than if you're here and you hit it. That's a quick takeoff and hard shot, which is much better because then you can time a certain movement. Somebody, you're waiting for a whole moves and then you go, right? So I feel that the close-handed grip typically gives you more control over that. Send me any other questions. Thank you.